What's going on, guys? Christian here from CK Wraps. Today I'm going to be showing you how to vinyl wrap or how to wrap this section on the front bumper of a Hyundai Elantra. So something a little bit different than a hood or a mirror. Call this a front fairing, call it whatever you want, call it a front panel, whatever. I'm going to be wrapping this in Vvivid Colorfusion Stealth Cosmic Purple. This color is phenomenal. I cannot wait to show you around the entire vehicle, and I should have daylight, so we're gonna get this outside. Stay tuned for that video because that one's coming up right after this one. It's gonna look awesome. So let's get into this. So I've prepared the front panel here. I've removed the emblem, removed all the adhesive. There are stone chips, of course. This car is a year or two old, so there's a stone chip there. Another one over there somewhere. There's a couple. Some of that might or might not show through. Either way, that little black speck, you're not gonna see a black speck anymore. It's all gonna be one color. If it does protrude through, I will bring the camera in to show you. And I have you on the camera crane, so I have you with a nice bird's eye view. If you guys are looking for more how to vinyl wrap videos, check out my website, ckwraps.com. The link's in the top corner and the description below as always. Open forum discussion board, first month free. You can ask me any question you want on there. I go on every day and I answer them. Also, something a little bit more easygoing is I have the members only section on YouTube where I've uploaded a couple hundred videos, at least from my website, to that section of YouTube. So check that out, links in the description below as well. Let's get back into this. I'm going to mute the volume. I'll turn the volume down for this because I don't want to blow your eardrums out, but I'm going to be blowing off this section using compressed air. Let's do that right now. That's it. The reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to be doing this as a dry installation. So with a dry installation, it's going to create static. So when I remove the release liner from the film, it's going to create static. And I want to make sure that we're not going to draw in any particles from the engine bay area from the static. So basically, I cut this piece. You're going to see it's a lot wider than this is. But what I'm going off of this corner here and this over here. So it's approximately about a foot. I cut this about 15, 16 inches, give myself a little bit of room left and right. Also, this material can be installed wet. With the matte finishes or the stealth finishes, you don't really need to install it wet because the finish comes out still looking very good. However, you can choose which one you want to do. So if you prefer doing a wet installation, you can do a wet installation. If you want to do dry, you can do dry. As you also notice, I masked off the headlight area. This is so I can get the material tucked in nicely underneath here and get full coverage without having the material stick to the headlights. Could I remove the bumper? Yes, completely unnecessary to remove the bumper for this section here. It's actually not a very hard bumper wrap because it is broken up into 4 different sections. That lower piece, the side piece that you kind of maybe see over there, and then the top piece. So 1 side piece on each side, so 4 pieces total. Let's get right into this. This color, wait till we walk around the whole car. I cannot wait to see it outside. You'll also notice that I have the car up on ramps. That just makes life a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm about an inch short. It's fine, not even, maybe about an inch short. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and bring that forward to the very end. Cool, I'm going to stick it to the light and stick it to there. And then now I'll be able to lift this up and shift it over that little bit that I need. Perfect, without even having to stretch the material. I measured this to be pretty much just shorter than 60 inches. All right, so we're gonna start here in the middle. We can try and keep the material fairly relaxed. We will want to pull it tight at some point, but for the middle section here, I'm gonna explain why we want it sort of relaxed, okay? So let's pull that out. There we go. Nice and flat right here in the middle. Let's squeegee the air out. I can't remember, were the holes behind here? No, there weren't. So that's not going to let the air out really easily. So we're going to do this right now because it will not let the air out afterwards once I seal the edge. Okay, it's already starting to trap. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift from the bottom there. And then we're going to, there we go, squeegee out. You can see I don't even really need any heat to form this material. I highly recommend post-heating, which is what I will do in this recess here. But I'll do that afterwards. Okay, so the next step right here is we have, as you might have noticed, these kind of sharp angular recesses right here. I could push the material in like this. It's a lot of tension. You can see kind of bubbled already. We can lay the material in, which is a better option. So we're gonna lift the material up from one end and pop that back up and then feed the material in. Once I have the material fed into here, we can now, oops, there we go. Let's make sure it's nice and clean. There we go. We can now take the material and stretch it across, which is going to help the material curl around the front section here as we go. I don't have to pull it very hard, just enough. Let's get it flat. There we go. And you can see the material's fairly forgiving, right? So it stretches really, really nicely without adding any heat. Now my shop is a little bit cooler right now, so that actually makes it a little bit easier to squeegee and actually work with the material. This is just something that I've noticed. So I prefer to work in a cooler environment when I'm doing the dry installation with Cosmetic PPF. Let's trim a bunch of this away. Don't need it, it's just in my way now. And then we have this last little section here, and you'll see this a lot better from the other side when I get there. But I'm going to take this now and I'm going to stretch because we're bunching up right here and I want the material to contour around naturally. So we're going to take the material and we're going to pull it so that it stretches around the front. And what I'm doing here is I'm not stretching past the very, very end here. We don't want to do that. We stretch right to the very end, but we do not want to stretch past the end of the panel because that will cause tension at the very end. And again, I'll explain and show this from the other side. I have fingers running across here. All we're going to do is just pull them down and out. That's perfect. And then what you'll notice here is that when I sort of lift the material up, see how it's naturally coming in underneath here? Exactly what we want. Same thing on this side. It's going to be a bit of a lefty situation here. Let me turn the camera a bit and get you into a bit of a different position here. Oops, there we go. There, because I feel like I was going to be in your way. And I don't want to be in your way when I do this. I'm just going to tighten this thing up. I think we're okay there. It's a little tilted, but I think we're good. Okay. So, actually, I'll do it from behind here. A little more awkward for me, but just so you can see. Okay, so we're going to lift that up to the middle section right there. I'm going to try and keep myself away. I don't want to draw in lint and debris. Okay, feed it in really nicely again. Exactly the same thing we did on the other side. You might have even had a better view from the camera angle on that side when I did that side there. Okay, again, from here, we're going to give this a slight bit of stretch. And if I really want to, I can take it and still lead all the way through like this to the very end. And again, I'm not stretching past this corner right here. Very important, okay? Stretch right to the corner, but not past it. Okay, so squeegee that out. And again, you can see the material wants to contour underneath. So what's the benefit of this stuff versus vinyl wrap? Man, it is just so much nicer. It's really beautiful to use. Quality, durability, finish, it is all better than vinyl wrap. Like there's not anything there's not really any cons, in my opinion, other than the price being a little bit more. Like if you're going with Vvivid's Colorfusion series, you're literally paying like nearly the same price as you would for a roll of 3M 2080, their high gloss series. So you can guess and that's just vinyl wrap, and it will scratch. This will never scratch. Like it's bulletproof on. No, say bulletproof. It's nearly bulletproof. Okay, so beautiful. This piece is pretty much wrapped. We're not done yet, though. Okay, so I'm gonna throw my glove on because we're gonna do some rolling around the edges and stuff like that. I think I saw an air bubble there. Yeah, I did. Well, okay, we're going to trim where our tape is right here. And again, you can see the material wants to come right in underneath there. It's exactly what I wanted. And because I stretched to the corner, but not beyond the corner, the material is also very naturally wrapping around the corner on its own. Same thing on the other side. So that helps when it comes to doing the corners. Cool. Let's grab the heat gun now. Oh yeah, let's trim a little bit more here as well, just so it's ready to go. Great. I should have replaced my blade. I only have one left. Oh, I don't know if it needs to snap off, but that's okay. It'll do the job for now. Okay, we're gonna lead through. So lead with the heat gun, follow through with our thumb and finger. This one stone chip there. Okay, let's go. Let's get the camera in closer. There we go. And get you down in here. Okay, so we're gonna heat, let the material relax. I mean, it's pretty much relaxed already. So again, the tape on the light, it helps tremendously from preventing the material sticking on the light as you try to tuck the material in underneath. Very important. Okay, so I think that's good. Always be sure before you cut. I want to make sure that I am where I need to be. And this panel actually, here, if I take my glove off, it's better. It's kind of flimsy on the end, so you can actually lift it like up. So I can get behind it, or underneath it here. Yeah, like this. So I can actually lift that up a bit and then really make sure that I'm tucked in there. Let's see if my blade's good enough. Yep, it's good still. Okay, so I'm just trying to cut and stay out of your way. That squeaking is just the material. All right, let's draw that off like that. Beautiful. Okay, that's all going to go over. We're going to go over all that with heat. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So let's turn the camera. It's not going to be the best view, but it's not bad actually. Let's go a bit more. There we go. Exactly the same thing. Let's get this corner elevated as well. See that? Lifts right up. That allows me to get in there really nicely. Perfect pre-tuck, that's done. Let's roll that back down so I can see where my edge is. And get right underneath that edge. And I'm not rolling any material around the edge. It's just I'm cutting it off basically flush on the bottom side of the edge. Get my hand out of the way as I get to the end here. Cool. All right, middle section. Looking for my glove, there it is. So at this corner here, I'm thinking I may just do a little cut and a fold. The cut and a fold prevents the material from bunching up, okay, basically. So I'll show you what that is right over here. So all I'm gonna do here is take my knife and do a little slit going down like this, and then that will allow me to roll one side in and then the other side over that side there. And you're never gonna see that seam on the bottom there because it's obviously underneath, and this car is actually angled upwards right now. So anything you might see, the car is definitely, it's not gonna show as it goes back down to a normal position. And it's just a seam, it's very standard, okay? So I'm getting this all pre-tucked in on the bottom side here. It's great. And then that will be ready to cut. We're gonna hit it with a bit of heat first. Just make sure it's solid. Fix up this a bit. There. All right. I'm going to cut off some of my overlap there. I had too much. And then now We're going to cut in the crevice between the grill and the front panel here. It's a nice little gap there. Boom. So let's take that off. Voila. Okay. Nice and clean underneath. Hit that with a bit of heat again. So always go over it with heat. Very important. Okay, we're nearly done, guys. So we have the inside section here to do. So I'm going to take this, roll it around. Let's get the camera maybe higher and angled down. That's the whole purpose of the camera crane. Really high up there. Let's get it right in there, actually. I can get you right over top. You can sort of see what's going on. All right, audio, everything's still working. Let me fix that. And maybe I have to zoom back just a bit. There we go. And more centered. Perfect. Okay, so always lead with a heat gun and start at the very top edge and begin to roll the material around. This will take several passes, many as you need to, and it's just doing it gradually, okay? Eventually, I'm gonna start using my squeegee card because it's flatter on the backside, so it just makes a lot more sense. Hard edge, soft edge, doesn't really matter, it's whatever you want. You're not gonna hurt the material with the hard edge of the squeegee. The hard edge just adds a bit more pressure. And you can see that I'm still using the heat to soften the material. And then I'm going to show you how I'm going to finish up the corners. So as soon as I get all that tucked in all the way through, we're going to cut a bunch of it out, but not all of it. And oh, I got some air. I was being a little bit careless here. There's a couple of air bubbles on the inside. That's okay. We don't have to leave it like that. We're going to just pick the material back up. Cool. Push it back down. Done. It's fixed. I was just not paying attention. Okay, so smooth, great all the way through. Yeah, it looks good. Now we're going to cut. Again, there's a nice gap between this plastic and the bumper panel. So I'm just going to run my knife in that nice little gap. With your knife, the trick is sharp blade. Don't press really hard. Let the knife do the work. And just feel and follow and flow with it. Feel, follow, and flow. 3 Fs. All right, so let's have a bit of a turn here as I come towards the end. And I'm going to leave some excess material here so I can manage the corner. Okay, same thing over here. I'm going to bring the knife towards me from here to the corner. And leave a tiny bit here as well, so I can manage manipulating the film at the corner. All right, so this one's the easiest corner to see. Let's bring the camera over here. Great. What we're gonna do is unfold our material because it folded over itself. Cool. All right, we're going to trim off this long piece that's just annoying me right now. There. Again, really handy to have the tape there. You can see that my knife might have touched the light. Let's have a look at this corner here. So you can see that the material is like somewhat wrapping around this corner, right? Let's get zoomed in a bit more, but it's not as far as we want yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out how we want to do a cut and a fold. So a cut and a fold is, what we're looking for here is we're looking for a peak, okay? So here's a peak right here. If we go the other way as well, like that way, now the peak's kind of going in this direction. So it was going in that direction, now it's going in this direction. If I cut here right now, this will give me a really long piece to swing around that way. Do I want that? No, I'd prefer it to go this way. If I bring the peak over to this side now, over here, and I cut here, I can then push this down and then swing this piece around that way. So ideally, that's what we're going to do. Okay. Poke through. And then that's it. So this is exactly what I mean right now. So I'm going to move that back. We're going to take our material on this side. Cool. We're going to finish off cutting off the excess before we fold the other section around, this section here. Now what I'm doing here is going to lift that up. I'm going to take it and add a little bit of pressure and just bring that around ever so slightly like that. Okay, like this is going to look really beautiful when it's done, you'll see. Okay, so look at that. Full coverage, full coverage. I'm going to have the tiniest little seam at the top here. So let's trim this right off on the bottom. And again, the trick to doing nice corners is to not leave too much material. Okay, so now I have that little flap. And what I'm going to do with that little flap is we're going to, because this is PPF and it's stealth PPF, it really does not like to stick to itself. So there's already PPF on that side. And so when I fold this around, it doesn't want to stick to itself. Okay, so we need to apply a generous amount of heat and then take that and smush. Look at that. Okay, that's pretty beautiful. Okay, you close that hood and whatever else, you guys are almost point blank anyways, but that's a nice corner, okay? That's a cut and fold done on that corner. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So I'm gonna move that back. I'm gonna move the whole camera over because it's just a little bit annoying. It's only gonna take me a minute, but I'm gonna do the exact same thing. So remember what I said there about finding the peak. I'm gonna do the same thing. My peak is going to come back this way over here. Let me see if I can zoom in just to get you a bit more involved, if that will help at all, but I don't want to move the whole camera over. Yep, so cool. That's pretty good, I think. A little higher up. And right about there. Cool. So it's about as involved as I can get you without moving the whole camera over. Okay, so I really got to get wheels for this thing. I keep forgetting. Okay, so my peak leading this way again. I'm going to do my slit. Okay, we're going to take this section here. So we're going to take the material here. We're going to move that back out of the way. We're going to take this section, the inside section, and fold that down, and then we're going to trim off our excess. Cool. And take this. This is too long of a flap now, so but that's okay. I can always trim off the excess afterwards. And I'm just going to take that, since I have a little bit more to hold on to here, and pull it tight, but don't stretch it excessively, and bring it around. That's it. I add a bit of heat to that. I trim off some excess, and this is good to go as well. And here you have, again, PPF is very difficult to do corners with. And especially like these corners they're not like small corners. A little bubble there. It's great. It's okay, we'll take an air release tool and poke that guy out. It's not that common, but it happens. Okay, so this is not a thin piece of plastic. So it'd be easy to do the corner if the plastic was thinner, or the panel was thinner at the corner, because then there wouldn't be so much corner to wrap. But this corner is pretty thick. It's like, whatever, that thick. So there's a lot more corner to wrap. And at a certain point, even vinyl will have trouble, it'll struggle. The main thing with vinyl is that, let's move this back. So the main thing with vinyl that makes it different is that you're able to stretch. Well, you can stretch both, but you can stretch the vinyl, you can shrink it, you can do all kinds of different stuff. So stop the camera from wobbling, there we go. So the stone chip that was here, See, it's maybe slightly, or I don't know if where even know where it was. I guess that was it. Barely see it at all. And that little black, that was over here. That little black speck's gone, okay? This turned out looking really good. Emblem goes back on, and this car is all finished up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something about the corners and the cut and the folds. Very important, because when you're using this type of material, but you can even do it with vinyl wrap, and you even have to. This is when I developed this technique on my own. I call it cut and folds. I'm sure other people call it something else, because it's just a cut and a fold. But no one had shown it to me, and I just had to figure something out on how to do corners that were thicker. And this is back when I was doing a lot of vinyl wrap. 2 years later, I haven't touched a vinyl wrap, and I've been doing PPF. So I'm learning that there's a lot of similarities between how you're going to do the installation. And so, yeah, cut and fold in the corner works fantastic. I show you how clean it looks as long as you do it nicely. Think about it, plan ahead, just think about it, where you're going to cut, how you're going to fold, and it will come out looking good. Because again, if I had gone the reverse way and folded it towards the outside, it wouldn't have looked as clean. Now my fold is on the inside. Looks a lot better because you can't see it. Drop the hood down. Actually, let's just drop the hood down since I have you here. And this more or less looks complete. So guys, next video, I'm super excited to take you for a tour of the car inside and outside. We're gonna do it in the shop first. I'm gonna bring it outside. You're gonna see it there. Super stoked because this color looks freaking phenomenal. We're gonna go over some of the details and things that I had done on this car, like the roof, the mirrors, and so forth. That's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I look forward to doing more videos for you. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching as always. I appreciate it. Take care.